Happy first official full week of NTI, take 2 this school year. Thanks for logging into our first video of 2 today. Today is really devoted to giving you a chance to continue the process of annotating and communicating with your group. So as you can see, I pulled up some tips for annotation success. If you are uncomfortable writing and highlighting in your text, there's always the option of using Post-its. Just remember to label them with all of your notes, possibly even page numbers, and make sure they clearly reference a specific passage. Make sure your note should remember that your note should make sense to you in our 10, 10, and 10. 10 minutes, 10 days, and yes, even 10 years. So moving into our next screen here, today's annotation focus is about power struggle to be specific. So you want to think about the dynamics of power that exist in your text. Who are those who seek it? In other words, those who want to gain it for themselves. Who are those who want a resistance, who are going to possibly put up a fight? How about those who exert it, those who really demonstrate their power? And finally, those who submit to it, those who cave in, who give into it without any fight. So today, what I'm going to actually do is pull up an example of examination day, which at this point we should have a very strong understanding of. I'm going to ask that you bear with me because I am actually going to pull up some annotations from our first focus from last week, which was dystopian structure characteristics. And then we can also take a look at how power struggles could also be acknowledged. Now, I wanted to pull in Post-its so that you could see that you can still very effectively annotate without messing up your text. So here you'll see dystopian structure, and I've referenced a specific passage. So again, the Jordans, like all families in the society, they have no choice. Their son must take the test. So this is an example of the structure because the test is a form of its control. Also bringing back a second example of dystopian structure and characteristics, Dickie, remember, will more or less give up his free will. He won't necessarily have the chance to lie, let alone he can't say no to the test. That test is the technology used to not only control, but to provide strict structure. So that's bringing back last week's. Today's is about power. And here I recognize a passage that I know we talked about quite a bit in class, the fact that there's a government newspaper. This is a great example of the government exerting its power because the government gets to tell the people what information they have access to. The people don't have any say in what they can and cannot read. A second example of power is here, which we talked a great deal about as well. The father is not very knowledgeable about, let's say, why the grass turns green, or how far the sun is in terms of the planet. And here it's an example of the citizens submitting to the government's power. And I say this because they must accept the knowledge that they're given. They don't necessarily know any different. They don't resist it. They're just accepting and they're caving in, even if the information they're given is wrong. Now, I've given you 2 examples of each of our 2 annotation areas of focus. Your homework as of today is to go back, make sure you have at least 7 examples of dystopian structures and characteristics that could also involve that problem and solution. And pushing forward, I really would like to see at least 4 examples of power. And again, going back to our original screen here, and again, this is also embedded in our Google Slides. Look for examples of those who seek it, those who resist it, those who exert it, and those who submit it. I really look forward to seeing you in our Google Meet later in the week. Make sure you refer back to that first screen of today's big screen Google Slides to make sure you know when it is we meet, what time, and specifically for your period. I look forward to seeing you. And again, happy reading, happy annotating.